feel like I made it. Mama, I'm on TV. I did it. But something that is more like, and I proceeded to live for like 2.5 weeks on his couch. It's, by the way, it's a very comfortable couch. Absolutely good couch. Okay, I'm not sure if I should say that right now without saying too much. I'd love to make something for them.
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Script to Screen, the podcast. I'm Robin, and in this episode I will talk with Richard Beck about his work as DP, filmmaker and director.
You've been trying to find a way forever, but you're still lost.
Okay, so first of all, can you tell me something about who you are and what you do for work?
Yeah, so my name is Richard Beck. I'm a German filmmaker, director and composer. I'm mainly working on commercials and on narrative films right now. And big goal sometime, hopefully in the future, I'll be a big Hollywood director. We'll see about that. That's the goal, at least.
That's a very nice goal. Can you tell me something about how it all started?
How it all started? Okay, how much time you have? It's a long story. Like my parents both made music. And both studied music, and apparently when I was a little child, whenever they made music together, I would just dance around and wanted to join them. And at some point, apparently I got like a plastic violin from a friend of theirs. And every time they made music, I tried to take the violin and play along. And that kind of got them thinking and said, like, if you really want to try it, we can go to your music fair, you can try out different instruments. And I kind of fell in love with violin. And they allowed me to play violin, and at that point I was like 3 years old, so it was really early. But I got a teacher, started to play violin. That was the start of like me making music, and a couple years later already, I kind of didn't only want to play the music that my teachers told me to play, but I wanted to make my own stuff. I wanted to come up with own ideas and stuff like this, and I think that really was the start of me composing and something like that. And on the film side, I think during that time as well, I always loved to do something together with other people, and then present it to, our parents or friends and family and stuff like that. And I tried out a lot of different ways. I tried making like circus stuff. We tried making like improv theater, and at some point we found like an old camera of my dad. It still had like videotape in it, right? And we found that and said like we could basically do improv theater with the camera. And I realized that's really dope actually. And I did that more and more and more, and over time I really realized, well, film is pretty much awesome because I can like get every creative medium there is together to tell a story. I don't have to decide, do I want to make music? Do I want to tell a story? Do I want to entertain people? Do I want to make pictures? I can just do it all together. And with like 12 or 13, I kind of knew that's what I want to do. I want to make films and make music on the side, basically. So that's pretty much the start.
So it started when you were at an age of 3 as play around, and now it is a very serious part of your life.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yeah.
Is it something that keeps you busy every day again, or do you have some free time as well?
Oh, it's the part that I dislike the most, I think, about the whole creative industry. It's like either you have work or you don't. So mostly you work as a freelancer, which I'm doing right now. And that means like your work is sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. And in times of work, you're basically busy. I really love that, being busy, and sometimes, when you're shooting a movie, for example, I shot my first one as a DP last year, first feature film, and it was like 8 weeks of basically 24/7 work, super exhausting, but I love that kind of work, like go all in, you have a specific amount of time where you can just, give it your everything, and then it's done, and I love that, but then you have off time, and that's awesome. I really actually like this whole pensum of, having phases where you work a lot and then you have your off time, you can relax and do something else. But you don't really have a consistency. So it's not like you're busy all the time. You don't know when the next job is coming. Or it's like on and off. And that is I love to have like more consistency when it comes to that, really. And I think with music, it's the same thing. It's just on a way smaller space. For the last track, I think it was more or less 1 week hard production work, and
And is there some time when you have a very big project, it's getting too much, you're thinking about giving up, or not really?
No, not really. I think when it comes to things getting too much, that's not an issue really. I think the issue right now is more the more we also like, move towards AI and stuff like that. It's more the question of will this be a viable career in like 5 years or 10 years, or will we be able to just replace everything with just a couple of lines of text? We already have it right now. You could basically make music right now by just writing a couple lines of text, and you'll get something that sounds incredibly good, that sounds like it's actually live recorded. That's really hard to do yourself with just a MIDI orchestra if you're not recording it live. And I think the same thing will happen in the film industry. So that's more the bigger concern of is this a good idea, or should I basically get a real job finally and get a stable career?
Yeah. And you're not only a composer but also filmmaker and DP. Do you have a favorite part of it all?
Oh yeah, I think my favorite is definitely so mainly I'm working as a director who kind of knows how to do all the other things as well, because I come out of the middle of nowhere and I had to teach myself how to do everything. And I really love the production part of it. Like pre-production, post-production is a lot of sitting around, preparing stuff. But the fun part is really like getting all the people together and doing it. Like in best case scenario in dope locations, that's definitely, it's the most stressful part, the most exhausting part. But I think it's the most fun part, because you really get to create something. And you start with nothing at the start of the day, and at the end of the day, you made something dope. So that's definitely, I think, my favorite part.
And when you start like directing a project, is there something they later on ask you to make as well? Or when they hire you as a director, that's the only thing you do for that project?
Well, sometimes. It doesn't happen too often, because like making a soundtrack always is also a budget question. But it happened before a couple times that I worked on a project, and they asked me, hey, we still need a soundtrack, would you like to make one? It also happened the other way around. The project I did with Sam, the first project, was called A Really Good Drone Shot.
It's a really good drone shot, so cinematic.
And he basically asked me to make a soundtrack first, and the more we talked, he realized, well, he likes the way that I'm making films, and he brought me on basically as a director, DP, and basically help him out with everything. So we split it basically 50-50.
That's even more fun.
That's absolutely, yeah. I really love it, like to be all in. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, making the music is a whole process. Can you tell me something about how you start when you get a new project for a soundtrack or something?
Yeah, that's a good question. To be fair, I'm not entirely sure how I started. I think it always varies a little bit, depending on what we need to do. So if it's really like a project, the first thing I need to do is talk to the director or to the people who are in charge of what the general direction is, what they kind of have in mind, so that we're all on the same page. And then I try to get like a blueprint, like the bare bones basically of what the track could be. Try to figure out a melody, maybe the main chords, what it could be. Try to clear that with the director. And once we're like saying, okay, this is basically the direction that we could head off, then it's I like to think of it as I have like a skeleton at the beginning of, okay, I'll have an intro, and then I have this melody here, and then it really comes to, let's flesh it out, let's put some meat on it, let's make it more full and sound actually like a real soundtrack. But I think that first part is where this melody comes from is always different. Sometimes it's just me sitting at a piano trying out different things. Sometimes it's a melody the cliche, I had an idea in the shower. It comes in random places. Sometimes it's really also just messing around with samples, with sounds, trying out different things, and you come across something that kind of hits, and you feel like, okay, I'm connecting with this for some weird reason. I want to make more out of this, and this inspires me to make more in this direction. So that's
Yeah, and when you make a song, you start with a skeleton, and you build further on that. But the melody, is it always something you make your own, or sometimes you find a melody online, use that, and build their own?
I try to make the melody myself always. That's, I think, with everything else, I'm open to working with samples and stuff like this. But I think the melody for me is pretty much the most important part, and I try to make that myself. Because I feel like if somebody else did it, well, that's basically they made the soundtrack. It's not me anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And I think you use Ableton to create your soundtracks.
Yeah.
When you make a song, is every sound effect and thing you hear created your own, or sometimes you use something out of the program?
Oh, it's I think it's more stuff from, not really, I'm not using any Ableton stock plugins really, but I'm using a lot of virtual instruments. Like I'm not using real orchestras at this point to record stuff. It's sadly it's pretty expensive to do that. But I'm using plugins that basically emulate that. It's mostly stuff by Spitfire Audio. They have some really great libraries, and then it's samples and sounds from various different places that kind of come into play. And sometimes when I'm not really finding the thing that I want to, I record something myself and layer that on top. Yeah. Especially what I started to do lately is record violin, which I kind of play. Yeah. I really like to play in some bass lines. I know how to play the electric bass. And that's, I think, way more fun to figure out a good bass line than just to play it in with your keys. And then some random stuff, maybe some drums, maybe something that is needed for the soundtrack. If I feel like it could use more organic sounds that are true, well, let's record them on top of everything.
Yeah. And when you use the digital music things you get from the plugins and you record something your own, does it match already when you import it in the project, or you need to fine-tune it?
I always need to fine-tune it. It's always a process of kind of finding a good mix where everything sounds like it was part of the same thing, recorded in the same space, something like that. So that's always something that you have to do, sadly.
And for a complete soundtrack, what time does it take to create it from start to end?
It really depends, I think, on the length of the soundtrack itself and how much you need to do for it, right? I mean, even if you're talking feature film soundtrack, that can be something that's basically 1 hour of music or more. It can also mean it's basically just 20 minutes of music. So it's really hard to tell. But I'd say for like a couple 20 minutes or so of music, you need a couple of weeks to do that. Really.
And when someone likes the type of music you make, can they ask you to create a soundtrack for their project as an assignment?
100%. That's how it works. Yeah, you just hit me up, say like, hey, I have this project, want to work together, let's go. You can also, I try to make some music that is basically free for use. I try to get it up on platforms like Artlist or MusicBed. It's not licensed yet, so the option that I have out there is you can hit me up. It's downloadable on Spotify, and not on Spotify, and on SoundCloud. You can go to my SoundCloud, find the Inizio EP, so it's called. And if it's non-commercial use, you can basically use all of the tracks in there for free, and just hit me up that you used it, and give some credit. If you want to use it for commercial work, you can also just hit me up and we'll make a deal. So that's the solution I found for now. But maybe some licensing platform says I'm interesting enough for them to get me on board.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I saw you also do commercial work. Can you tell me something more about that part?
About commercial filmmaking, or the soundtracks for commercials?
Commercial filmmaking.
Yeah, so I basically with like 13 I kind of knew I wanted to make films, and Hollywood blockbuster movies. That was the goal. And I made a whole bunch of short films, like tons, I think like 60, 70, something like that. And when I graduated high school, I wanted to study film and realized here in Germany it's not that easy to do that. We have public university, and a couple of them are like really good for, you know, studying directing, for example. But they only take like 5 students every year and have like thousands of applicants. So I wasn't taken, and I didn't really know what to do. And a friend of mine said, well, why don't you just start being a freelancer, right? You already taught yourself so much yourself. You could basically start. And through a friend of a friend, I was asked, hey, do you also make commercials? We have a little corporate video maybe you can shoot. And I was like, I have no idea how to make commercials or corporate videos. Never shot something like that. But I said, yes, of course. Why not? And it was an interesting experience. And then we kind of, I got kind of really interested into the business that we were shooting for. And they had like a monthly new item on their menu. And we thought, how about we make a monthly commercial for you that's coming out, you know, every single month, a little bit like a mini series that's it's not really a commercial, but more like a sketch, more like a mini short film. For me at the time, that was a wonderful excuse just to, you know, make films, and that was the whole thing behind it. And we'll tie a little bit of marketing in the end. And we did that for like half a year, and after the third commercial, something like that, the numbers started to explode. We got like 10, 20, 30,000 views on the videos. People that lived like 50 kilometers away suddenly knew about that business. And I realized like mixing marketing and my love for like narrative films, like mixing those two things together and making something that people actually want to watch. Because we actually had comments under the video saying like, I really want to not watch the next episode when it's coming out. Basically, they're asking to watch your commercial for free. And I thought that's brilliant. You know, I saw it working. I saw it working for the business, how it, you know, helped the business to reach numbers they never ever were able to get beforehand. And I also saw it's like not the type of commercial that just goes on people's nerves and kills their time. And the word spread around that I'm doing this, and suddenly other businesses say like, hey, could you also do that for us, maybe? And suddenly I had a career in commercial filmmaking that kind of went up and up and up and up and up. And I think it reached its, like, pretty much one of the coolest things I was able to do was in 2021. I worked together with a production company for like half a year and was able to shoot a commercial campaign in Dubai for a month with a budget of like $250,000, which was insane. Because, I mean, if you're 22, I was 22 at the time, be able to direct something of that scale, that's really huge. And it also was like, it really showed me the thing that I kind of came up with. It works perfectly. It actually has its foundation. And I think what keeps me to this day is, on one hand, you have a way to entertain people and really make their day, but also but it's actually somebody who has an idea, who wants to kind of make their own dream come true. I realized I can actually help them. And realizing that you can actually help somebody in that way, help their dream come true in a certain way, that's a really, really, really fulfilling feeling, I think. So that's what really got me stuck with commercial filmmaking for now. But I'll still do the narrative projects. It's not a one-way street for now.
So at first you wanted to do a filmmaking study on school. Yeah. But because there wasn't enough place, you started at your own with some friends, and now it's a lot bigger.
Yeah, now it's my career. Yeah. Exactly.
When you make a commercial for a company, do they always reach out to you, or sometimes you reach out to them to ask, hey, can I make a commercial for you guys?
It's like a 50-50, I think. Like a lot of the projects kind of came to me because people heard about me, and then those companies reached out. But I also did my fair amount of reaching out to companies, which I still have to work on. It's not one of my strong suits. Yeah, but that's definitely like a two-way thing.
Do you already have made some commercials for larger companies?
Well, I can now say I made a commercial for DJI, which is probably the most notable of all. We did some commercials for a camper van brand in Germany called Road Fans, which is we started to help them to grow from somebody who's really unknown to they're now represented nationwide. And yeah, I think the other names are kind of not too known. Working with a filter company right now for camera filters called B&W. We're making like really high class filter projects, filters for cameras and for photographers and filmmakers, and you know, some stuff in the fitness branch, some stuff in the automotive branch as well. We did a spec commercial for Sixt. We're still talking with Sixt. And yeah, the wonderful project that I did in 2021 sadly declined in the end, had to scrape the event. It was cancelled, so that one will never see the light of day. It would have been probably the biggest thing ever. Was this project they had planned to get like 4 million monthly visitors, so that would have been something. But yeah, it won't ever see the light of day, and I'm not allowed to talk about it, so that's a little bit sad.
Yeah. First of all, you made a song for Sam Newton, a mix of all the songs he made in the past. Did you have any intentions to get in touch with him at first? Or?
Not at all. No, it's yeah, I made a whole YouTube video about how that whole thing came together. So everybody who's listening, you have to check it out, because for some reason it's a little bit underperforming right now. No, but I actually sat down and tried to just come up with some ideas for music myself, because I've been composing a lot, but I also wanted to make songs since I don't know, since forever. Never was really like courageous enough to sing on a track myself. But I just tried to, you know, gather ideas for that, and I sat down literally at the piano, I had some chords, and I thought, okay, I have this melody, and maybe I just need some lyrics to kind of sing over that. Not something that's like imprinted. I don't want to have the final lyrics right now, but something that is more like,
I need some lyrics. I need some lyrics.
you know, more than just gibberish. And for some reason, I had one of the choruses from Sam Newton in my head. I don't know why. Maybe I took part in some of his competitions, so probably it was because of that. And I just took those lyrics and said, okay, I'll just use those to have like a placeholder for later. I can later, you know, change out the lyrics for something real. And it was a little bit too short, so I said, I need more words. So how about I just look at more of his songs, because the first one worked. And I just took a couple of choruses and just put them together and had enough text basically to get my melody down.
I'm not a filmmaker, I'm a content creator.
And recorded my thing and was good, and already wanted to move on. But I had this little thought of, well, if somebody would have done that with my music, I think it would be so cool. If somebody would just send me that, it would make my day, you know, make me smile, make me feel a little bit good. Maybe, you know, it make me laugh a little bit. So that was the whole intention. I thought, okay, you know, I'll just send it over to him. I have it anyways, and maybe I get a little laugh out of him. Who knows? And so I sent it off, and that's basically what I got back at first. I was like, what the fuck, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think a weekend later, I was coming home from a concert. He said, can I call you? And we FaceTimed. And he basically told me that he listened to that little song I did. It's like a minute long or something like that. He listened to it like 1,000 times over the weekend. He can't get it out of his head anymore, and he wants to turn it into a real song. And I didn't expect that at all. I thought it's just like a little joke or something. And yeah, so we kind of said, okay, let's try it, let's do it. I made a demo, fully fledged, and from there on it kind of started. So no intentions at all of ever like making
Yeah.
this into a big project. I thought about it. It's actually like a good idea. It's actually like a really
Yeah.
smart move to do that. But I think what may have made it work is actually that it was 100% authentic. Like I had no thoughts in the back of my mind of, oh, I'll use this as a marketing trick or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, because the song is online on Spotify right now and all the other platforms. Now it's 7 minutes, I think, but when you send it over to Sam, it wasn't a complete song yet.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
just a small part.
It was just the first part, I think, like the first part of the song. Actually, I have no idea how long it is right now. And the idea was we'll take the first thing, use that as the chorus. For the second chorus, we'll add something to it, so we'll make the chorus a little bit longer. And then originally the plan was that he'll use it as one of his songs. So I sing the chorus or somebody else sings the chorus, but we have those lyrics as the lyrics that are the chorus lyrics. And then in the middle part that is purely instrumental right now, we left it open for him to rap over initially. And he was really looking for a project to kind of use it for, and it didn't really come up. But he had his, I think 12 years chasing a dream video coming up at the start of the year. And he thought actually the song is pretty perfect for that because it kind of, the chorus encapsulates all of his songs and it still has a very film cinematic ending that we already talked about. So we said, okay, let's use it for that, but it wouldn't really make sense for him to rap over. So we decided, let's just leave it as an instrumental and use it as a soundtrack, basically. So that's like the progression there. So if everybody's listening to it right now, don't be weirded out because like half of it is basically just like somebody's lyrics are missing. It's it's a soundtrack.
Yeah, I really like it.
Oh, it's awesome. Thank you.
When it was used in the film show on the film festival of Sam Newton. He was also invited on the film festival.
Yeah.
Can you tell me something more about that part of the project?
Yeah, we thought about it. So the thing with Sam is something I really appreciate about him is he is trying to give back as much as he can to everybody that he's working with. Like some people, and with every project I worked with him, it has been the same thing. It's not something that's usual. And for that one, we basically talked and he thought about, is there like a fair compensation that we can kind of get out of this for me if I'm working on it? And I decided in the end, like, hey, I'm free. I want to come. Lucky enough, he flew me out to attend the film festival, and I proceeded to live for like 2.5 weeks on his couch. So I could stay in LA for the first time ever. It's, by the way, it's a very comfortable couch. I really loved it there. Absolutely good couch, A+. Yeah, and basically stayed with him in LA for like 2.5 weeks. And it was a little dream for me come true because I always wanted to move to LA since I'm like 13, 14. Thought like Hollywood, that's the goal. But I never visited it because I thought I only want to go there not as a tourist, but actually as, an artist. Because I think LA is not a very touristy city. And the thing I like about it is really the creative community coming together. It's like filmmaking. It's not something you can just visit as a tourist. So this basically was the opportunity for me to come to LA for the first time, but not just as a tourist, but as somebody from the creative community. And that was awesome. It was really, really great. And now I really hope that somebody changes the visa system so I can actually move there. That's the plan.
And after the event, did you get a lot of positive reactions on the soundtrack?
Yeah, that's the thing that's really astounding for me still. Like everybody who heard it and who kind of talked with me about it was like really loving it. And I'm even more impressed that sometimes people just send me over voice memos or screenshots that they are listening to my music right now. I just had it recently that a creator sent it to me and said like she listened to it like for about an hour before she had an important call as like a preparation behind the scenes music.
Yeah.
And I thought that's so insane to me that people actually freely, out of their free will, listen to something that I made, and I can actually like have an impact on their lives a little bit, you know, and leave a little imprint and maybe make something better, maybe help them out a little bit. That's crazy still.
Yeah. That's nice when they send you something and you see it, and it can be a very simple message, but
yes,
can brighten up your day.
Yeah, I think that's actually way more important than any views or something. I mean, on my YouTube channel, the same thing kind of happened as well. I'm not YouTube famous yet, but the best thing, I had one video blow up, and at the same time I had another video out, and the thing that was way more important for me was the people commenting stuff like, hey, I got inspired to actually go out and make a video now myself. And that's really, I don't care if the video has like tens and thousands of views or like, you know, just a couple hundred. If somebody actually gets hit so hard by that, that's really awesome.
And do you have any plans of videos you want to post on YouTube in the future?
That's a big question for me right now. I would love to like lean in, especially with Sam. He basically pushed me and said like, you got to make YouTube videos, and I'm really trying to figure out what I want to do, because I think just making tutorials, it's not necessarily for me, and doing tips and tricks, because basically when I need tips and tricks, I'm going to YouTube looking for tips and tricks. I would basically just regurgitate whatever somebody else already said and probably did way better. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to post there, and what's actually of interest to not just some niche people, but like people in general. You know, I'd love to find a mix of something that's interesting for people who are from the film, from the music scene, but also for people who are maybe not too deep in it. You know, so it's, if somebody's just barely interested in something like that, I can still reach them and, you know, give something of value, entertain them a little bit. I think the greatest thing ever was when we were shooting in Bali. We had a little, we had somebody who was local and drove us around with their car and organized stuff for us. And we were able to kind of get him into the project a little bit and excite him with what we're doing. We played him the soundtrack, and the excitement on his face, that was just so beautiful to see somebody from the other side of the world who has nothing to do with the whole film industry in itself. You know, you can give him so much joy with that, and I would love to do that with the YouTube channel as well. So it's so if everybody has ideas about what I should make and create, what's interesting, please let me know. I'm open for ideas.
You already worked on a project for DJI and CanonUSA. Do you have some big companies you want to work with in the future?
Okay, I'm not sure if I should say that right now, but so I'm not using a Canon camera, but kind of from a different manufacturer, without saying too much. I'd love to make something for them. So if a certain camera company that starts with S would love to reach out, I'm here. Let's work. But in general, there's many companies out there. I think it's companies that I'm personally kind of like for some reason. I recently fell in love with Porsches, with cars. So Porsche, if you're watching this, let's do something, or generally like Nike or the sports scene. But generally, I think I'm really open for most companies out there to kind of come up, and it's really something that to doing dope products that I find are interesting. And there's a way for us to like merge the things that I can bring to the table and what they can bring to the table. Let's do something great.
And would you like to make a commercial for them, for example, or want to make a soundtrack for a video they have?
Both. Best case scenario is like both. I think the future actually in commercials might be in more long form content stuff because like I think everybody's fed up with short form commercials that are just plastered in your face. The campaign with Sam was I think it hit really well with the community, and I think one part of that was it was not just a commercial that's on your nose, it was actually something that's entertaining. And yeah, if we can make something like that, that's probably the best way. And of course I would love to direct it and make the soundtrack for it, you know. But either one of them on its own would already be fine.
Yeah. And when I'm specifically look at the creator side, are there any creators you want to work with in the future, or?
Many creators. So many. Way too many. All of them. Just want to, give a big hug to everybody who's out there. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out if I'm just mentioning a couple names. I think one of the typical names everybody probably knows is Sam Calder. I think that would be awesome to make something together with him, because he's also not just making films but also dabbling into music right now. So I think that could be really interesting. Danny Gravitz just came out with the whole feature film, which is that's my thing. So absolutely. And so many more. I talked about with Luke J. Clark, with Watch Luke. Maybe we do something together, because he's an amazing dude. And so many more. I just want to name drop everybody right now. So if you're a creator, just hit me up. Let's do something. Yeah, I think in general, like one of my philosophies going through life was always like, I want to spend my time just doing dope stuff with dope people. That's it. If I'm able to do that, that's good. Yeah. So if you're a dope person and you want to do some dope shit, let's do it.
Yeah, you already have a lot of experience in your profession. Is there a specific project or a specific thing you've already achieved what you're really proud of at the moment?
Yeah, I think a couple. I think making the whole campaign for DJI was something that was pretty dope, because I think it was the first time that I could like bring all of the things that I learned together and really compose something and make music and direct it and DP it and actually have an impact on so many people that still to this day sometimes are using the soundtrack for their reels. That was really cool. I recently shot a small feature film as a DP in Costa Rica, which was a really interesting project. And did some campaigns for brands here. I helped some brands to kind of scale up, but I think the coolest there on the experience side was definitely the project we did in Dubai, where we just stayed there for about a month and shot about 10 to 12 different commercials with a big scale. And that was something I'm also really, really proud of. And basically also like all the music that's out there. It's also something I'm really proud of, that I've made it so far, that I'm actually putting it out.
Yeah, like the song you made for DJI is also used a lot on Instagram for a giveaway, I think.
Yeah, it was used basically together with the video. We launched a competition on DJI's channel that was kind of tied in. It was like a whole campaign. And the whole concept of the campaign was you were able to win a drone or something like that if you would make a video, like a reel, with your current drone and with the specific part of the song that we made. And we think we had like 3,500 submissions, which is it was a moment to realize 3,500 people are using your song for their own creations. It's not about numbers. It's really just about like having the impact on so many people. That's awesome.
Do you have anything specific you want to say to the viewers or the listeners of the podcast?
In what way? Like in case of tips or questions or
can be anything.
Oh boy, so much. I could ramble for an hour now. I think, I mean, most of the people watching are probably like creators who are more or less in the same space. And I think if I can give you anything of value, I'm also just starting out, basically. I'm not a saint. But from what I've experienced is it's not only important to just be really good at your craft and try to work on your skills. Don't just, push it away to say, well, that's not my job. That's the job of a DP or the job of whatever. Try to learn as much as you can yourself. But I think the most important thing is work on yourself and be nice to people. Like if you are, it's so rare for some reason to see people in this industry who are actually good human beings, who actually are thankful for the work that other people are doing, who appreciate the hell out of it. And I'm not sure if those things will actually, provide you with the best career ever, but for sure it will make everything that you work on way more enjoyable for yourself. And I think the connections you will get are way better. And it's hard, and nobody tells you this, but like really do that. Work on yourself, work on how you treat other people on set, no matter how busy it is. And I think if you are becoming like a good person to work with there, you might not be a superstar, but I think it helps to get more and more people around you that you actually enjoy working with. You kind of, your vibe attracts your tribe or something a lot of people say. And I feel like that has some truth to it. So no matter how, it's easy to kind of slip into the little bit of a narcissistic route and treat people not that nice. So don't do that. And you'll see the benefits sooner or later.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, sure. I think a good question would be like, what's your goal with the podcast? I mean, it's really awesome for me to be invited. Feel really, really honored to be on a podcast. I feel like I made it. I'm on TV. I did it. And I think it's so cool that you just said, you know what, I want to start a podcast. I want to interview some people. What are your goals with it? Where you want to go? What's the direction?
At first, I started with my YouTube channel, but it's right now really a mix. Some things are reviews about software like The Answer or TubeBuddy or something like that. Or when I make a commercial for Monster, I upload the behind the scenes and the commercial on YouTube. But it's a mix, and it's always a short video, and after I uploaded it, after a few weeks or months, I don't think it's good enough, or I like it, like I made it and I put it online. So I want to get in contact with some people like you, or a director of a film like The Last Front, to get more information and more angles of how other creators look at filmmaking. So I want to use the podcast to look at the angle of another creator. I don't know if it makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. It's a really good, I think it's a really good approach to do it.
Yeah, because
I think if I can help you out a little bit at least, I think the thing that worked for me, not to get successful, but to get like quality wise on a point where I'm at right now. I don't know if that's particularly good or not, but it's just like do it like 1,000 times. Like I made countless films and so many of them are trash. They're so bad. I'm really happy that I think if you would dig deep enough, you can find a lot of stuff that I made. It's not on my main YouTube channel, it's somewhere else. But I'm really glad that most of it I think isn't. So yeah, just if I can help you, just keep on doing stuff. It'll be bad at the beginning, but you'll learn and do those stuff, and eventually you just make some dope podcasts. And I think even by doing this, you'll learn something that other directors haven't learned. And just by going through the whole process, and that will maybe help you to see things differently again a little bit, which I really feel like that's happening. I mean, you got some really good questions,
Yeah.
and that
Thank
was
you.
really cool.
Yeah.
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 So you're definitely also wanting to go into the filmmaking, being director route.
Yeah, I don't really know what part of filmmaking at the moment, but I finished high school last month. So next year I'm going to do something with filmmaking, but it's like you get a lot of different things, and then the second year you choose a few parts of it and then work further and further on that. So I don't really know yet what I'm going to do, but it's definitely something with filmmaking.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
A new creator. Let's go.
Yeah. So I want to use the podcast to get in contact with more creators and get a more wide view of the part of filmmaking and everything around, like music is also a part. That's why I started the podcast.
That's a really smart idea. I think I
Yeah.
should start a podcast as well now. I'll start a podcast and I'll invite you on it.
Yeah.
We'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's why I started it. Yeah.
Great, man. I'm really excited to see what's next. Who's coming on next? Where can we see the podcast? Is it just on YouTube or
YouTube
is
and
it,
Spotify.
On Spotify as well. Oh
Yeah.
damn, yeah, we're going professional now. Perfect.
Yeah.
Really nice.
This was the second episode of the podcast. Richard, I really want to thank you to join and hop on this podcast. And I hope to see you all in the next episode. And you can find all the information of Richard in the description down below. And definitely go check out his projects and things he makes, because it's amazing.
Thank you very much. It was a big pleasure to be on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And thanks everybody for listening.